So the US turns 250 today. This is the age every empire dies. British weasel ran the numbers. Rome, Spain, the Dutch, the Brits, all of them called around 250, using the same scam in 7 phases. Phase 1, they sold you freedom, but freeing enslaved peeps was a crime. Freedom actually meant free real estate on native land. 2, they sold manifest destiny, took half of Mexico at gunpoint, but God wanted this. Phase 3, hard work pays off. Meanwhile, the enslaved peeps picking cotton were over 80% of the US export. Phase 4, the golden age. But let's make sure we write race into the mortgage rule. Phase 5 is the American genius. They started importing brains, like the moon landing guy who was a literal Nazi. Phase 6 is all about the responsible superpower running the world, but actually the banks torched the economy. Phase 7 is the collapse. There is no story left. Wealth hoarding parasites grew 60% while you were locked in inside. Empires die at 250 years because that's the amount of BS lies you can take.
In 1976, a British general discovered something disturbing. Sir John Glubb studied empires across 3,000 years of history, and he found that almost every major empire lasted roughly 250 years, and then it collapsed. The Assyrians, 247 years. The Persians, 208 years. The Greeks, 231 years. The Ottomans, 250 years. The British, 250 years. And America is right within that range today. Glubb found that every empire moved through the same 7 stages in the same order. Empires start with the Age of Pioneers, conquest and expansion. Everyone builds together, and this was America from 1776 to 1815. Then the Age of Conquest, military dominance, territory expansions. This is America in the 1800s through the early 1900s. Then the Age of Commerce, trade and industry boom, and this was America from 1890s to about 1945. Then the empire peaks, called the Age of Affluence, wealth, prosperity, America from 1945 through the 70s, the Golden Age. Then it starts to decline with the Age of Intellect. Universities expand, innovation accelerates, and that's America from the 80s to about 2000s. And then finally, the Age of Decadence, obsession with entertainment, wealth gaps widen, political polarization explodes, and trust collapses. America's national debt is $36 trillion. Trust to government is at 22%. The population is split into 2 hostile camps. The U.S. is at stage 6, deeply in stage 6. The final stage, collapse, is close. Glubb's pattern says stage 6 doesn't last long. Rome took 30 years from stage 6 to collapse. Britain took 40 years. If America entered stage 6 around the year 2000, it's 24 years in. Can America break the pattern that pretty much every other empire has followed? With very few exceptions, empires last about 250 years, and the United States is right on schedule. So according to John Glubb's theory, empires go through 6 stages over about 250 years. And looking back, he might just be right. The Arab Caliphate lasted about 250 years. The Mongol Empire, about 240. The Dutch Golden Age, around 220 years. The Habsburg Empire, roughly 250. And the British Empire, just over 250. The U.S. has followed Glubb's 6 stages. It starts with the Age of Pioneers, followed by the Age of Conquest, Commerce, Affluence, Intellect, and finally, the Age of Decadence. America's Age of Pioneers from 1776 to 1850 was a time of energetic founding, idealism, revolutionary spirit, risk-taking, included the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, Lewis and Clark's expeditions, amazing and exciting times for the new country. Then the Age of Conquest, when the empire expands, grows its military, and consolidates its borders. This had the tragic Indian Removal Act of 1830, the annexation of Texas, the Mexican-American War, the California Gold Rush, and the Spanish-American War in 1898. Then the Age of Commerce from 1890s to 1945, when trade, infrastructure, and industry boom. This is the American Industrial Revolution, the Transcontinental Railroad, the Roaring Twenties. President Coolidge said in 1925, quote, "The chief business of the American people is business." That was followed by the Age of Affluence, 1945 through the 1970s, a time of mass prosperity, rising consumption with the GI Bill, suburban housing boom, rapid growth of the middle class, consumer culture, the rising consumption, and a wonderful time of optimism, especially if you were white. This was followed by the Age of the Intellect, with rapid innovation, intense public debate, and ideological splintering. In the US, it was Silicon Valley, computers, the internet, AI, and culture wars. And finally, the age of decadence. From about 2002 to today, this is the end time of unsustainable debt, materialism, bureaucracy, the loss of civic virtue, and military overreach. The US debt is currently at $36 trillion. Trust in government at 22%. The U.S. population is in two hostile camps. The American president attacks other countries with no consultation. The U.S. military is on the U.S. streets, arresting U.S. citizens. People disappear in unmarked cars by unidentified masked agents of the government. If Glove's theory looks like it's right on schedule, it is. The question isn't will the U.S. fall, it's how many years or months does it have left.